How are you? I wanted to take a little bit of time out of my day today while I'm in between running errands and running around and talk about the fear of failure. Have you ever wondered about that? About the fear of failure or having a fear of failure? Or have you ever wondered if you have a fear of failure? Well, first of all, we all know what fear is, right? False evidence appearing real. We know that that's what fear stands for. And I think if you just think about that for a minute and you actually just kind of just meditate on that. False evidence, but it appears real. When you really understand that probably what you're looking at or what you're thinking about is false. When you really understand that it's false, means it's fake. When something is false or fake, the truth of the matter is that it has no power over you, right? Something false or fake, not real, can't have any real effect on you because, simply put, the truth will set you free. The truth will always set you free. The truth, whatever that truth is, will always actually set you free. So fear is only something that you might be contending with if you are allowing whatever that is to appear real in your life. Like you are the one that's actually allowing that, whatever that fear is, that thought or that being scared or that person or that situation, that job, whatever that fear is that's actually fake, you are the one that's actually allowing it to appear real in your life, and you are the one that's actually allowing it to get in your way. If you actually just meditate on that part right there, because we all have heard, I think everybody has heard and knows about that, right? I mean, people will say that all the time. Fear is from the devil, and fear is false evidence appearing real. But when you actually just slow down and think about, are you experiencing fear right now? Are you giving somebody the ability to have, to create fear in your life for some reason? Okay. If you just Google, just to Google fear of failure, you can literally just Google that. And I love this because these days, like, honestly, if you just want some information, I'm not saying that everything, we all know everything is not 100% correct, but honestly, knowledge is power. And if you just need to, if you're experiencing something right now, or you have a fear of something, fear of failure, or something, I think it's good sometimes to just get some knowledge and meditate on it, think about it, pray about it, right? So you can kind of help to get your bearings, okay? But let's look at the definition, okay? The definition, fear of failure is also known as, I can't say that word, achipophobia. I can't say it, but is an intense and persistent anxiety about making mistakes, experiencing setbacks, or not meeting expectations. So I'm going to read that again. But the definition, okay? The fear of failure is an intense and persistent anxiety about making mistakes, experiencing setbacks, or not meeting expectations, okay? Now, causes. Here are some causes that can create the fear of failure in your mind, okay? Early experiences, negative experiences with failure, such as criticism or punishment, can lead to a lasting fear. So maybe as a child you had some early on experiences where maybe you did fail at something, or maybe you didn't make the cut or something early on in life, in childhood or whatnot. In those experiences, you receive such criticism from usually parental figures, because usually if this happened early on in life, some sort of parental figure in your life, or maybe like a teacher or somebody that you placed high importance, they gave you such extreme criticism or punishment, and it led to you not wanting to have or experience that again. Okay, and so now you have this fear of that punishment and a fear of failure, or whatever might appear to be failure in that person's eyes. So let me give you an example. Maybe you had an overcritical mother growing up. Maybe your mother was very critical with you for your grades or at school, or, could be anything. Singing lessons, piano lessons, kickball or football, or whatever the case may be. You just had an overcritical mother. And let's say you were only raised with your mother. Maybe you were raised in a single parent household, and your mother was your end all be all. And she was so overcritical over everything that you did, or at least at some decisions, or maybe things that you quote unquote failed at or didn't make the cut or whatever, that it created such inner turmoil inside of you that you didn't want to experience that again. So you have a major fear of failure, of whatever might look like failure to your mother's eyes. Okay, and so therefore you will not take risks, or not do certain things, or not do anything to get her upset. Okay, and this is creating a fear of failure, especially in her eyes. And this is because this happened to you maybe young as a child, and maybe you didn't even know it was happening. And guess what? That fear is false evidence appearing real. Sorry about that, guys. I had to take that phone call. Anyway, okay, so again, that is false evidence appearing real. So basically the over criticism of your mother, for example, you might grow up into an adult and you will now have a fear of failure, and it all stems from not wanting to let your mother down or whatever, right? And so it's actually false evidence appearing real, because if you're experiencing this, let's say as an adult, well, the only person that you need to be fearing, depending on how you decide to raise how you are now as an adult, like me, for example, the only person that I fear is God. Okay, that's a healthy fear, but that's how I choose to be as an adult, right? Now, I didn't experience this with my mother. Thankfully, I had very, very, supportive parents, both parents and everything. But I see this all the time. And I hear about this type of thing all the time with my adult friends. Like, seriously, adult friends. Okay, so that was, I'm going over these causes, right? That was the first cause, is early experiences in life. Perfectionism. Individuals with perfectionism or perfectionist tendencies may be more likely to fear failure, as they set unrealistic standards for themselves. Now, this is definitely something that I suffered from, or definitely used to really, really, really have issues with being a perfectionist, especially in my early adulthood. And especially like when it came to like me doing makeup and everything. And I can still be that way, I definitely had to fight this tendency. But this kind of comes from, for me personally, this comes from me having an over-detailed eye over little things. And this is why I have to tell my clients all the time, don't let me stay in your face for longer than 30 minutes or whatever, because I will be a perfectionist and keep nitpicking little things, right? And it's just not necessary. So anyway, if you're a perfectionist about something or whatever, this can lead to a fear of failure, because if you think to yourself, I just can't get this right, or I can't get this perfect, I'm not going to do it at all. So then you might not actually even start the project or do whatever it is, because you have a fear of failure, right? And that can literally create not only obstacles but setbacks in your life, or just where you're not actually moving forward in life. You're stopping yourself, you're hindering yourself. Low self-esteem, that's next on the list, is low self-esteem. People with low self-esteem may be more vulnerable to feeling threatened by failure. So if you already have a lower self-esteem and you feel like you are failing, or you might be a failure, or you might be assessing something and you're like, oh, I'm gonna be a failure at this or whatever. You're like, my self-esteem, you're not like, this is an unconscious thing. You're not even realizing your low self-esteem is not even gonna allow you to even try for higher standards of things, places, people, jobs. If you have lower self-esteem, your low self-esteem is going to allow you to, let's say, let me see, how can I give you an example of this? My self-esteem and my standards will not allow me to live in a certain place, in a certain, let's say, area or side of town, right? And it has nothing to do with me feeling like I'm just too good for. It's not that, right? But if I know that a certain area is lower standards and there may be more crime or whatnot, or maybe the houses in that area are not up to standard, whatever that is for me. But if I know that if my self-esteem will not allow me to live there, my higher self-esteem is also going to tell me I need to work harder to get a better job so I can live in a better part of town, or be able to move somewhere where I can have a better quality or have a better house to live in and whatnot. But my high self-esteem is going to say, let me make some adjustments in my life so I can get this type of job over here, which can afford that type of a house or that type of a car or that type of a whatever, right? If I have low self-esteem and I just feel like, well, I'm not worth that much, or this is just what it always has been, or I have a fear of failure, I'm not even going to try to go for a better job to get more money to create a better living for myself. I'm going to go ahead and accept living on this side of town, or living in a house that is breaking down, or maybe there's not good plumbing, or there's not good sorry, somebody was asking me something, or there's not good water system, plumbing, or maybe there's the electrical system is not good, or could be anything, whatever's wrong with that house, right? You are just like, you don't want to live there, or things are wrong with it, right? But it's your self-esteem is like, well, this is all my family can afford, this is all I can afford, this is all we've ever been able to afford, is a house with no floors, or this, that, or this, or that. And here's the thing, everybody at different times in your life, it's not a matter of do you deserve. Everybody deserves to live wherever, or it's a matter of what are you willing to do to get that. And if you have lower self-esteem, which is causing you a fear of failure, you won't even go after that. You won't even try. It's like you won't even apply for the good jobs. You won't even go to school to get your degree or get whatever it is you need to get to try to move up. Like, you won't even try. And the thing is, everybody will tell you, everybody who has ever had any success in life, if you listen to any affirmations, or if you listen to anybody positive, anything, if you listen to anything like that, they're all going to say they failed 1,000,000 times before they actually had success. That success is actually failure many, 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 many times before you get to the success, right? They didn't have a fear of failure. They didn't have a fear of trying for the good job, or trying to go after this or that or whatever. They didn't have a fear, and they weren't scared of hearing the word no. They were not scared to hear the word no. The word no doesn't have to mean no forever. It could just mean no, not right now. No, not today. Okay, it doesn't mean no, you're not worthy. No, you're not valuable. It's kind of like, let me give you another example. If you have low self-esteem, maybe you are attracted to a certain type of woman, and you think she's beautiful. You think this woman has it going on, or whatever it is that you want in this woman. You think that this woman, she has her own place, her own car, her own this, her own that, or whatever your standards are. But like, you just think you love her, you like everything about her, right? And you want to talk to her, but you're nervous to talk to her. You're nervous to go up and shoot your shot with her because you have lower self-esteem, and you won't even allow, not that you're not nervous, no, I should say, you won't even go and talk to her, even though that you might love her, or you might want to be with her, or whatever, You've gotten to know her, but you won't even express yourself or go out there. You won't even try. Why? Because you might have low self-esteem and you might think, she's not gonna like me anyway. I'm not her type. And you will literally knock your own chance down. Like, you will knock yourself down before you even go after her. Before you even ask her out on a date. You will knock yourself down. You will, basically just block your own self. Or they call that self-sabotaging, right? When you're like, well, I like her, but no, I'm not going to try. Or you might just dream about her or whatever, right? Okay, so in other words, what I'm saying is that your lower self-esteem is going to actually stop you from going after your dream girl, your dream job, your dream car, your dream this, whatever. And where is that low self-esteem coming from? Or where is that? It's because you have a fear of failure. You have a fear that you might go and talk to that girl and she's going to cut you down. She's going to say, get out of my face, or whatever. Like, that's your fear, right? I have had, like, for example, with this right here, I've had guys who were, who did come and talk to me, and they literally flat out said to me that they didn't think that I would ever even be nice to them. I don't know why, but they would just say, things like, I didn't think you were my type, I didn't think I was your type, or I didn't think you would let me take you out, or I didn't think blah, 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 blah. I was just telling my friend this the other day, like, I've come to find out, or I've come to learn that I feel like men definitely suffer. They don't like rejection. They don't like rejection at all, especially when it comes to women. They might not have a fear of failure in other areas of their life, but when it comes to women, boy, they don't want to be rejected at all. And so they won't even shoot their shot. They won't even try, right? And he was telling me that men don't like rejection. And that's the reason why. They'll just run from rejection, or they'll run from the idea of being rejected. But if you don't, but there are men who just don't care. They're like, I don't care. All she can do is say no. And they're not scared. And they know that no doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with them. Because in actuality, it's like when it comes to, like in this case right here, what's for me is for me, and what's for you is for you, right? And what I happen to like and think is good looking, or what I happen to like in a man, or what I happen to want, where I'm at in that time in my life, what I need and everything, it's so personal. It's so personal that it's so personal to me that you, the other person, or the man, or whoever, you shouldn't take it personal if you don't fit that person's needs or whatnot. You shouldn't take that personal, because it's kind of like, it's like, everybody is not for everybody. Everybody is not for everybody. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I don't want to be everybody's cup of tea. And I'm okay with getting rejected. I mean, like, seriously, like, I could care less. I really could care less if a guy doesn't like me, or I don't care if I'm rejected by a job. You know how many times I've put in applications or whatever? I have been through so many rejections in my life. I don't care. It's not going to stop me from going on to the next. To me, it's, okay, on to the next. Whatever rejection looks like to you, okay? But there's levels to that, and that's based on your self-esteem. How many times are you okay with hearing the word no? How many times what are you okay with dealing with, considering, like, the fear of failure? What does fear of failure really look like to you? Or who? Are you scared of looking like a failure to your mother, or to your sister, to your aunties, to your brothers, to your job, to your girlfriend, your boyfriend, to whatever, right? Like, who are you scared of looking like a failure to? If the only person that you're really scared of looking like a failure to is God, then your level is going to be different of what you will push for and shoot for compared to, like, say, me, okay? Or like say the next person, okay? You know how many times I've had to call my mom and be like, Mom, I need this, I need that, I failed at this, I failed at that. But I have the kind of mom that I can say that to. I can say, Mom, I messed up, I did this. I might have to hear whatever I need to hear, but I don't have the kind of mother who's going to, drag me through the mud and remind me about it every time I talk to her, or, whatever, especially as an adult, like, yeah. So if you have a fear of failure, and you have identified that, ask yourself, where is it coming from? Because if you can identify where is it coming from first, then that can also help you to break down how to dismantle that fear of failure in your life. Now, here are some, this is the next point that it brings up. It says cultural factors. Some cultures may emphasize success and discourage failure, which can contribute to the fear. So this could be a cultural thing or something that you, maybe in your neighborhood or in the way you grew up or your family or whatever. So that's another one of the causes. Okay, so these are the causes: early experiences, perfectionism, low self-esteem, cultural factors. Okay, symptoms. Now we're going to talk about symptoms of fear of failure. Avoidance of tasks or situations where failure is possible. So you will avoid shooting your shot with that girl or shooting your shot with that job or whatever because you feel like failure might be possible. So you'll just avoid it. But in actuality, what you're doing, you think you might be avoiding failure, but what you're actually doing, you're already literally walking straight into failure by doing that, because you've already failed. You've already failed by not even trying, by not even going for that job or for that better whatever, or aiming high or whatever. By doing that, you've already taken yourself out the race and you've lost. You've already failed because you're not getting whatever, you're not getting that girl, or you're not getting that job, you're not getting that car, you're not getting that position or whatever, because you didn't even try. So you've actually already lost. Okay, so by just avoiding procrastination. Procrastination is the point that's on here. Procrastination is another symptom of having a fear of failure. Excessive worry or rumination. Rumination is when you are ruminating over something over and over and over and over again in your mind. If you are procrastinating on making a decision, or procrastinating on, let's say, okay, let me give you an example. You might have a report that you need to write in your class. Okay, maybe you're taking a course or a class and you have to write a report, and you might have 3 months. They may have given you 3 months to write this report, and you have to do research and this and that and the other, but you are procrastinating for that whole 3 months, and you wait to the last 2 days before it's due because you have been ruminating and thinking about it and over and this and that, and I should write this, I should talk about this, or I should not say this or whatnot. It's called ruminating. And it's literally going over things over and over and over in your mind, back and forth, and not doing anything, procrastinating and whatnot. Okay, and you are excessively worried about your grade or whatnot, right? Instead of just actually going for it, just doing it, starting to write this report or writing this, whatever it is, right? Okay, so instead of just going for it and doing it, you're going to ruminate, think about it, and let it kind of like excessively take over and excessively worry about what grade you're going to get. And then next thing you know, it's time for you to make that decision, or you to put in that report or whatever. And what do you have to show for it? Worry. Just a bunch of worry. Okay, so the next thing on the list is talking about difficulty concentrating. Physical symptoms such as sweating, palpitations, nausea, and heart palpitations, sweating. That's like having panic attack, basically. I'm sorry, I'm checking my surroundings. There's so much going on today. I guess the Super Bowl. Anyway, sweating and having these issues, having this situation is because you're feeling a lot of anxiety over, you're giving yourself, these feelings, or you're giving yourself excessive worry, and you're procrastinating. You might even be nauseous, sweating and heart palpitations, and that's a lot, right? That now is really affecting you physically. These are symptoms. These are literally symptoms of having a fear of failure. Okay, like you're about to take a test and you're afraid you're going to fail this test, and now you're so nervous and you're giving yourself these type of symptoms. It says effects. Fear of failure can have significant negative effects on a person's life, including reduced productivity and achievement, difficulty taking risks, avoidance of opportunities for growth, increased stress and anxiety, and social isolation. So these are the effects of having a fear of failure in your life. Reduced productivity and achievement. So it's like you have a fear of failure, Just by having the fear of failure, though, you are automatically basically failing. You are automatically putting yourself in a reduced productivity, reduced achievement in life. You have a difficulty taking risks and avoidance of opportunities for growth, and increased stress and anxiety, social and social isolation. Okay, so now treatment. There's cognitive behavioral therapy. Go to therapy. Okay, that's basically what they're saying. Like, go to therapy. Okay. It says exposure therapy, which is gradually exposing individuals to situations where they might fail in a safe and supportive environment. Okay. Assertiveness training, so helping individuals develop coping mechanisms for dealing with setbacks and criticism. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. Every time I deal with some stupidity, or every time I deal with some negativity, or if I deal with a setback, or if I go for something, I try for something and it didn't work, or whatever the case is, I still nurture myself, okay? And I do something good for myself. I give myself a treat of whatever. And I don't care if it's something little or something big. I don't care. If I know that I did something, I moved in a way that was positive, that was from God, that was, you know, if I know I did something or I tried my best, I tried my hardest, whatever that is, like for me personally, and maybe it didn't work, or I didn't get something, or if I deal with anything negative or anybody negative, because let me tell you something, there's some Jezebel people out there, there's some Jezebel women out there for sure. Anytime I deal with them, first of all, I nip that in the bud and I get that out of my life. I remove that energy. I don't deal with that. But also, I give myself a pat on the back, or I nurture myself and give myself a treat of some sort. You know, I'm not saying go out there and spend some sort of money that you don't have or whatever, but whatever it is, whether it could be a long walk or something, some sort of nurturing for yourself, right? Because when you get used to doing that for yourself, that, hey, I tried, I shot my shot, I shoot my shot, or I did my best, or whatever, but this is how I'm going to embrace failure. Every time I get a no, or every time I tried, I didn't miss the mark, I didn't make it, whatever, I give myself a pat on the back, or I go ahead and give myself an A+ for trying. Okay, that is part of like embracing the failure, and a part of developing coping skills and mechanisms for dealing with setbacks and criticism. Like, if I was a guy and I wanted to try to take a girl out, and I asked a girl to go out with me or something like that, and she said no, well, okay, then I might just go and buy myself a new basketball or buy myself a new pair of shoes, or whatever it is that, you know, you think, whatever you like, whatever you're into. Additional tips, it says, set realistic goals and break them down into smaller steps. Now, this is something I learned in Mary Kay. Absolutely. I think it's great to develop this skill, and I learned this early in life. You eat an elephant one bite at a time. One bite at a time. So if you have a goal, if your goal is $30,000 in production for the month, then what does that break down to? Literally, what does that break down to, like, every week? So, for example, $40,000. If your goal is $40,000 in sales for the month, what does that break down to? That breaks down to $10,000 per week, right? $10,000 per week in sales. Okay. And then what does that break down to per day? That can break down to whatever, $1,200 or whatever, or like $1,200, whatever that is, right? You just break it down. So did you know what you need to do every single day minimum to try to stay on track for that big goal that you have? That's how you break your small goals or your big goals down into smaller goals, into daily. Okay. So, and I think guys get that very easily, especially when it comes to sales or certain things. Like, guys tend to be more left brain, or, you know, and numbers oriented, and they kind of understand it. But apply that to your life. Apply that to your life in general. Whatever that goal is, break that down. That will help you so that you can focus on more of the process and not so much the outcome. And so that way you can help to reduce your fear of failure, okay, which is like maybe the outcome. And also, failure is also what it means to you versus what it might mean to me. Like, let's say I have a goal of buying a new car, and I want my new car to be, let's say, a Range Rover or a BMW or a Mercedes or whatever. And then I go, you know, and eventually I get it. You know, let's say I have the goal of getting a new car by the end of the month, but it takes me 3 months to get my car. And then when I do get the car, I end up with a Ford or something like that. Okay. Some people might consider that to be failure because A, I didn't do it in the time that I wanted to, and B, it wasn't a car that I wanted. Or I can look at it as like, yeah, it took me a little bit longer. I stayed on track and I still have a new set of wheels. So I don't consider that a failure. But it's all in how you look at it. It's really all in how you look at it. So again, this is something that everybody, I think, can meditate on and can think about your life in general and in whatever you're facing or whatever you are experiencing. If you are feeling like a failure, or like you feel like you have a fear of failing at something and you're not even going for something or whatever, think about where it's coming from, where did it start, and how can you get rid of it, or how can you break it down. Maybe you need some therapy. Maybe you need help. Maybe you need a little bit of help or a little bit of therapy. Sometimes it really helps actually to talk things out. If you have somebody supportive that you can trust, to be able to talk things out, that's great. That is amazing. Not everybody has that in their life, but certainly if you can, I would do that. And at a bare minimum, go on YouTube and type in fear of failure and listen to positive affirmations and listen to people speak. Listen to professionals talk about this type of thing. It will give you a different outlook on life, or a different outlook on what you're dealing with. Okay? Yeah, see, that's on the list. Seek support from family and friends or a therapist. Embrace failure as a learning opportunity. And remember that everybody experiences failure at some point in their life. Yeah, and listen, even up to the day you die. Okay? It's not something you can run from. And don't be scared of that. I think when you can embrace, I am a failure, embrace the failure. Embrace that change. Embrace the fact that, you know what, I stayed in control because I chose what I wanted to do. I tried and it worked or it didn't work. Okay? Just embrace that. And when you get used to just actually embracing failure as a part of the trail to success, then you won't feel such a fear all the time of failure. In fact, I remember in Mary Kay, we had a saying that said, the saying was, how did it go? It was it said, we fall forward to success. Because failure was like falling down. I think that's how it went. Like every time we fall down or we feel like we failed something, fail. That's what it was. Fail forward to success. So basically, like if success is over here, but you're back here and you are falling down, every time you fall down though, you're a little bit more ahead, or you've learned something. Every time you fall down, you're getting closer to your success. You're getting closer to your success point, or what you consider to be success, right? So you fail forward to success, and knowing that failure is a part of you actually succeeding. And that's okay. That is literally okay. And be happy. It's okay. Like me, I just say all the time, like, I'm glad I have my legs. They're working. I could just go do this, do that, do whatever. I might have failed over here doing this, but I was just happy that I got to be in the race at all. I mean, if I was to do right now a race, what do you call that? A marathon? No. I would definitely be failing. I already know that. I would definitely be failing. But I might fail that marathon or not win. I would probably lose like 20 times before I might actually win one. But it would definitely take the 20 times of practice before I might get to the point where I might actually win. Right? But I would be okay with that. To me, that is something that's like, you know what? Hey, I'm good. I'm just happy I can say I even did a 4K, 2K, whatever they call them. Right? I have a girlfriend. She's really good at that. She does marathons. She lives in New York and she is really good at that. Like every time I talk to her, she's really good at, she's running marathons. Her body is fit and everything. I would just be happy if I could just do half. And I would be like, yo, hey, I failed, but let me tell you something. That was a win for me in my life because I don't ever do them. But it would be considered, for me, I consider it a win if I even just got in the race, okay? So anyway, just some food for thought. Have a good day.